Know today that as Linda talks and is very eloquent in her talking, that she has quite a history here at the university, and you've been in the Career Development Center
forever.
For forever.
I've been director for 21 years.
Okay. I want to really, I know our staff is listening today, so I wanted to make sure that I started off by giving an overview of the folks that work in our department. As you all know, Ms. Parker is our leader, our director. Mr. Jim Novak is the associate director. Dr. Velta Kelly Foster.
Terry's been drinking again, I think.
Is our associate director, but she's also a retired, and she comes back and helps us out, and we appreciate that. Julie Montier Ball is the assistant director. Mr. Arthur Walton is our student employment coordinator. Ms. Teresa Aberly is a program coordinator and adjunct instructor. Ms. Robin Broadnax is one of the newest members of our staff. She's our career fair coordinator. Mr. Michael Barnes, who you'll see at the front desk, is our public information officer. Ms. Kay Allen, our resources coordinator. And Kay has been with the CDC for...
almost 21 years, I believe.
Almost 21 years. Doesn't look it. Ms. Debbie Edwards, my good buddy. She's our administrative coordinator and runs the show. And another good friend, Miss Patty Carroll. She's our on-campus recruiting coordinator. And it says secretary, but Miss Debbie Kleemeyer does a lot of everything at the office. And those students that go over and purchase books and sign up for things, you'll see Debbie. So that's Debbie Kleemeyer, and she works with us in our center. The center is located at 140 University Pavilion on the first floor below One Stop. And we're open from 8 to 5 every day unless there's a special event going on. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the staff and the departments that they're the liaisons to as we get into the show. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about, last week we had a very, very successful career fair. And we had a chance to talk to some of the employers that were at the career fair. So you'll hear some things from the employers as far as their experiences there. Also, we've got some students that'll be coming in to talk about their experiences at the career fair. I teach special topics in career decision making in a class called Professional Development, and we had a little round table about the career fair Friday and Monday about their experiences, and it was pretty across the board, from being just totally frightened to a great learning experience and having their resumes and seeing how it meant to be prepared and on top of things. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and we may get a chance to hear from one of our corporate partners who's on site today actually doing some on-campus recruiting, and that's another one of the areas that we really pride ourselves on. The last thing we're going to do to make sure that we cover all the bases is we've got Patty Carroll in the studio today, and we'll talk about joining the listserv and signing up for on-campus recruiting and just how easy it is to do that. So that's where we're going. The phone lines are open if you would like to call in and give some comments about your career fair experience, or if you're alumni and you want to call in and just talk about your experiences here at UC. The phone number to call in on is 513-556-4529, 513-556-4529.
Terry, I think one of the things that we may want to do is to kind of answer the question, what's the Career Center and why should I care? And the reason for that is because sometimes because we know so much about what we do and think about it all day, all the time, we have to be in touch with the fact that many students don't think about us all day and all the time. As a matter of fact, may not even know what to think about us if they have not come over to visit and to really look at what that whole service is about. But one of the things that we know is that our students come to the University of Cincinnati, excited about having achieved getting out of high school and ready to move into the collegiate experience and, make connections with faculty in the classroom and take courses that they think will be informative and very valuable in terms of where they hope to be. Some students come very career focused. They know that they want to be an engineer or a doctor, or they know that they want to be an architect. There are other students who come in and who are in many times a quandary because they are interested in a variety of things. I would have been one of those students. I was interested in the media. I was interested in writing. I was interested in teaching. I was interested in traveling. I had a whole lot of interest and not a specific focus. My mother said to me at the time, and it was true at the time, if you ever want to get in a career where you always have a job, be a teacher. Of course, I've lived long enough to know that there's no job that's secure for all times, and that our students have to really start out as freshmen thinking about, why am I at the University of Cincinnati? What is the outcome that I want of the time that I'm going to invest here? And what are my career dreams? One of the things that has happened in the world of careers, it used to be that you had to start and stay in a career to be successful for most of your life. Now we realize that in the course of a career lifetime, individuals may have 3 to 5 careers, if not more, very different tracks that they may take. So one of the things that freshmen especially have to do is to begin to realize that I just need to come up with plan A, B, and C. Plan A would be what my dream job is, my dream career area, or the things that I would most want to do in terms of the day-to-day activities that I would be involved in. The plan B would be that career area that I know something about and it seems appealing, and I feel like I might be able to do some of that, but I need to probably have some testing or some career assessment to help me to really explore whether that is a career track that I might pursue, especially in light of my major. And then the third plan C might be a career that I have always looked at with fascination and wondered, how do they do that? But never really sure if that particular career area would be something that I could do. But at least in developing your plan A, B, and C, you start to have focus and you start to be looking at, how can I know more about the career field, whether it's plan A, plan B, or plan C. And this is where the Career Development Center comes into play, Terry. As you know, we have career assessments that we administer to students, freshmen, sophomore, at no cost to students. We also have classes. Our special topics in career decision making is a very important 3-credit-hour course that allows our students to really focus in for an entire quarter on what do I want to do in terms of my future career, or even just identifying a major. And then beyond that, as students begin to zero in on what they want to do, they come to the Career Center, and they should come to the Career Center to explore internships. We have a large number of employers who submit either electronically on our website internship opportunities, or who participate in our internship showcase that we do once a year. And they come on campus specifically to try to help those students to be able to locate in their sophomore and junior years internship opportunities. So do we need to break? Am I getting a signal?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think you've hit some very good points, because I know the classes that I teach, especially the special topics class, that the students, once they really get into the groove of the class, they start seeing that I know what my preferences are.
Yes.
I know what my choices are. Mm-hmm. I know why I'm making these choices. And if they don't, they have an idea that I need to think about them and how I make my decisions. I think that the other thing that the class has shown me from the students is that at the end of 10 weeks, that the light bulb is screwed in a little bit tighter. And hopefully you'll hear from some of those students before the end of the quarter. I want to talk about a couple of the topics so that those that may have to tune off before and go to class before the 1 o'clock hour or 12:30 hour is that next Tuesday on the 15th, we'll be talking about the University of Cincinnati co-op and internships and how does that work and how does it work for you. We'll have some guests in the studio that are and have been currently co-oping and done some internships, and some that are now graduated and into jobs and how that helped them.
That'll be great. That'll be great. I think the students value hearing from recent graduates especially who have moved into careers and identifying how did you do that and what was the direction that you take. For students who are in programs where they have already identified a major, such as my daughter who would have been wanting to go into chemistry or chemical engineering, these students are a lot more career focused. And so we work with those students in our professional development courses, Terry, to make sure that they are competitive in the job market. Currently, the Career Development Center is now involved with the Big East Career Fair. And one of the things that we know is that University of Cincinnati students, when they go to New York City and are in the Madison Square Gardens at the career fair, dealing with this range of exciting employers, that many times it's a bit overwhelming, and that our students are challenged to be able to compete effectively with students from Harvard, from MIT, from NYU, from Boston College, any of the Big East schools, as well as others, as they compete for some of the top positions in organizations across the country. So the preparation is absolutely key. And making sure that from freshman year on, you're practicing interviewing, you're preparing your resume, you're updating your resume, you're getting it critiqued through the Career Center, you're actually having video mock interviews with employers, you're making sure that you've had internships or co-op experiences where you can solidify and articulate not only your competencies, your skill sets, but how they relate to that particular organization. And the Career Development Center is there to be an important support system as our students make their way into the competitive world of work and pursue the career opportunities they are most interested in. One of the things that employers talk to us about is our students learning how to sell themselves more effectively. A fun thing happened, Terry, for me a number of years ago when someone from the UK, the United Kingdom, came to Cincinnati from St. Andrews College to talk to our students and to talk to the Career Center about how do we teach students how to sell themselves. And one of the things that we've had to say to them, and he did that because in the United Kingdom, the very British way is not to sell yourself. That is not a part of at least the culture in the past. And so they were looking for ways to really help their students to be more enlightened around this. Well, we know that we can't really teach a student how to sell themselves. The student has to be really given the assurance, given the exposure to the opportunities, given real life experiences, and then they begin to articulate with great confidence why they are a good match for an organization, and they're selling themselves without always realizing it. And what we do is simply bring in employers to help them practice in those interviews so that they can know whether they're hitting the mark in terms of really presenting themselves well.
Thank you, Linda. We need to pay some bills. This is CDC Live, and the mission of this show is to help as many students and alumni define their unique personal purpose and to give them a competitive edge in the job market. That's good.
have no direction here, so I'm just going with it.
Back to CDC Live. You're listening to BearCast, coming to you live from the Jack and Jones Strader studio, part of the electronic media division of CCM. I wanted to come back to a couple of more dates in April with some topics that are, to me, some of the most exciting topics that we're going to have on the show this quarter. The first, on the 22nd of April, will be International Co-op, study abroad and finding your way to an international career. We've got some very exciting guests lined up to come over and talk about their experiences in the fall and winter quarters, where they actually went overseas, did some community service projects, did some studying abroad, actually did some work in some very unique places. And some of those folks are listening right now. I know there's somebody listening in China. There's some folks listening in.
Let me give a shout out to Brittany in Bahrain, who is in her second international experience in the Middle East and previously in Dubai. Hope you're out there, Brittany. So glad we can connect this way.
That's my little ambassador. And then on the 29th, for those that are sports enthusiasts, we're going to have a show called Careers in Sports, No Jersey Required. And it's for all across the board in sports, for from athletic directors and coaches to sports broadcasters to athletes who have hung up their jersey and started their own businesses. So it's going to be an exciting show. Plus, we'll have some of the hopefully some of our athletes from UC in the studio to talk about their career aspirations.
Terry, I just want to mention that the Cleveland Cavaliers have contacted the Career Development Center because they're very interested in filling internships for their entry-level position, which really is very much working in a call center type situation. But guess what? You're selling the Cleveland Cavalier tickets, which according to them is a no-brainer anymore as long as LeBron James is on that team. And so therefore it gets you in the door in working in that kind of occupation. And we certainly want to be sure that they keep coming back to the Career Development Center. So we have information on that. If they will contact our office, students are more than interested in looking at and having an opportunity to pursue those opportunities.
I want to make an announcement that on the 10th of April, over in Lindner Auditorium, for all of our student athletes, there's going to be a resume workshop. It starts at 7 p.m. in Lindner Auditorium, and it's to help you prepare for the world after sports and your resume. Ms. Robin Martin and Shantara Carpenter have really gone out of their way to make it easy for student athletes to see the value of life after athletics. And that's what we'll be talking about on the 10th. I want to play one more spot, and I want to talk to a couple of our staff members about the recent career fair and talk about listserv. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and Here with us today is Miss Robin Broadnax. Robin she coordinated and put together a career fair last Wednesday over in Great Hall that got some pretty good reviews, and she was up against some stiff competition for the career fairs that we've had over the past 2 or 3 years. I want to talk to Robin about some of the companies that she had, how she went about getting those companies, and any feedback that you had from the companies from the career fair.
Can I just throw in something that I think is really important? The career fair, sometimes our students say to us, well, the only organizations that you have coming on campus are businesses, and I'm not interested in a business career. So we want to be real clear that our 3 major career fairs attract a range of employers, from social service agencies, government agencies, corporations, and other nonprofits. And so our students need to be aware of that, and I just wanted to throw that in and then throw the ball to Robin Broadnax.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Last Wednesday, we had our 28th annual BearCat Trackers Career Fest. We had over 93 companies that participated when they sent approximately 160 representatives. So there were plenty of opportunities for students, faculty, also our alumni to come over and speak with these representatives about the companies that they represent. We had several government agencies from Ohio and from Indiana and Kentucky present. We had several nonprofit agencies that were here. We had several new companies that have come on campus. We had Opera Incorporated, and they were looking for design students. A number of our alumni that own companies or are representatives of other firms were there. RYA Design was here. We also had a representative from the Indiana Department of Transportation. So we were totally across the board with the types of firms that were here last Wednesday. They were interested in filling part-time and full-time opportunities, along with summer internships and also regular internships. We even had Yellowstone National Park here, and they were looking for employees to work during the summer in their lodges, and they were a new employer for the Career Development Center.
There was also the Peace Corps and City Year, which is a pretty exciting program for students who want to work in urban communities and really make a contribution there. Was Teach for America there, Robin?
No, they were here that week also for on-campus recruiting.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Now, I know we're not supposed to be biased, but I think one of the companies that just fascinates me by coming each year to our career fairs is Mike's Car Wash out of Indiana. They really get it when it comes to looking at talent and the talent that they use to run their car washes, but also in their corporate office. And one of the things that we really need to be on top of as administration and faculty and instructors is to make sure that the students look at the big picture with the companies. I know from a previous employer that I had, trying to talk to getting folks to come and interview with a company like, say, a General Motors, where they would say, I don't want to sell cars. And that's all they thought General Motors did, was sell cars. When you look at General Motors and you think about the advertising that has to go on, somebody has to pay the bills. Somebody needs to know where the money is.
Exactly.
Somebody has to do HR for a company that has that many employees. And you know what? All their companies are not located in Detroit. They're all over the world. And it's really important that we look at the big picture and really get our students to stay focused and go for the gusto. Robin, what about how do you attract the companies to come to the career fair?
Well, we send out an advertisements to our firms that have registered with us previously. We also put out information on our website. and that's www.uc.edu/career. We have a student page, an employers page, and an alumni page. We also have different distribution lists to government agencies, and we also connect with the N Circle, which is the Alumni Association's group. And we have a number of alumni-owned businesses that send out feelers to the other companies and say, hey, I'm an alum of CDC, and I know your company is looking to hire a full-time position in whatever discipline. And we get calls that way. We just fill them in and just, send them the information and say, if not this time, maybe next time. We have a number of firms that participated in our virtual career fair that we hold during